Hi, my name is Pam Cherry, and I'm a career development coach and consultant based in Johannesburg, South Africa. So I am actually born in Zambia and I grew up in Zimbabwe. I am half and half. My dad is Zambian and my mother is Zimbabwean. So I did my primary school and most of my high school in Zimbabwe. And after completing my O levels, I decided I wanted to be a fashion designer. And so I asked my mother if I could go to enroll at the London School of Fashion. And surprisingly, she said yes. And so we flew to London. And the week that I was meant to go and enroll at the London School of Fashion, she changed her mind and basically said that she thought it would be better that I completed my A levels and went to university. And so I changed the plans. I was gutted at the time, but I had to go along with the plan because she was the one who was paying the fees. And so I did a year of college in London. And then I moved to South Africa in 2005. And when I moved to South Africa, I enrolled into university at Monash University, which was the Australian university at the time. It has since become a South African university. And so when I was at Monash, I did a Bachelor of Business and Commerce in Marketing and Management. And I was a natural at it. I think it was personality. Marketing was just something that I was able to connect with. And when I graduated, I went home to Zambia. And I had a conversation with my parents who were trying to get me to stay in Zambia and live with them. And I chose to come back to Johannesburg because I felt that the marketing industry and the advertising industry here was way more advanced, and I'd be able to get a lot more exposure and more of an opportunity to climb up the ladder. And so I came to South Africa, and they gave me a 3 months allowance, and they basically told me that if I didn't find an opportunity in that time, I'd have to either move back home or I'd have to find a way to pay for my own expenses. And lucky enough, I found an opportunity with a web design company working in sales, which was just not my thing. I don't believe sales is my thing. And so after 3 months of working there, I then found myself working for a youth marketing agency. And I spent the bulk of my career working in youth advertising, youth marketing, working with brands that were targeting young people who would do, so that the brands would do campaigns on campus and university campuses, at malls, at beaches, at parties, and online. And it was fun. It was something that I really got to do, where I could channel my creative energy and come up with strategies that in some cases were actually quite successful and award-winning. And then I left youth marketing and found myself working in graduate recruitment marketing, which was with a youth marketing agency, but working in the division that specifically works with employers that target young people onto their graduate programs, internship programs, and any opportunity that spoke to a student or graduate. And so what I would do is I would help them come up with campaigns to attract people to apply to their opportunities, because it gets very competitive. And I did that for quite some time. And in 2018, I had a near-death experience when I was giving birth to my second daughter, and I nearly lost my life. And in that time, I really got to reflect on the things that were important to me. And the one was my lifestyle and work-life balance and being able to be available for my children. And the second was being able to have more of an impactful career, purpose-driven career. In the space that I worked in, naturally, I was exposed to a lot of young people who didn't manage to land opportunities at a lot of the organizations that I saw as my clients. And I used to see a lot of students applying for opportunities and just not making it because their CVs were not up to scratch, or they just weren't properly trained to be able to put themselves forward and to brand themselves correctly. And so when I had that near-death experience, I decided that it was time for me to go and follow my mission and listen to my intuition and work in youth development. And so I resigned from my job, and I decided to take a leap of faith, and I was going to go and consult in marketing and at the same time volunteer in the youth development space. And I was blessed enough to then find myself working at a scholarship program as a careers coordinator, doing the work that I wanted to do and actually being paid for it, which was amazing, such a gift. And so I worked with the scholarship program as a careers coordinator for 2 years. And in that time, I was basically helping final year students source opportunities for employment, helping them put themselves forward, having coaching sessions with them to just help them improve in the ways that they could to better source opportunities for themselves. And during that time, I found that a lot of young people, a lot of the students that I was working with all grappled with the same issues. They all were just not trained in university for how to put yourself forward through the interview process and also how to integrate into the working world. And so I decided to bridge that gap, and I started making master classes that I pitched to some of my clients, and then I started training graduates. And so not only do I coach young people and consult for clients who want to come up with strategies to train young people, I also speak and deliver master classes on topics that I feel are relevant for young people to engage with in order to prepare them for the world of work. Personal branding being my favorite topic. So that's a little bit about my journey, what I currently do and how I got here. I would not say that my qualification in marketing and management is what qualified me to come into being a career development coach and consultant. I would say my experience over the years has somehow all made sense as I look back and in retrospect, just see the things that the projects that I've managed to work in, the clients that I've been blessed to be exposed to and engage with. I believe it has all set me forward to be able to be in a position to support young talent. And so what the advice I'd give to someone who wants to work in youth development for coaching specifically is if you believe that you have a natural knack for connecting with people, actively listening, you have high levels of empathy, and you enjoy supporting and guiding people, then you should definitely listen to that and consider coaching. And there's many ways to go into coaching. I did not come through any accreditation. It really is just from a point of experience and having the desire. But what I would say is that if you do want to go the accredited route, there are many programs that are accredited by the International Coaching Federation, and there's others that are from institutions that might not be ICF accredited, but there are ways in which you can develop skills for coaching. I have done courses in coaching, but I haven't decided to go the full-on route into becoming an International Coaching Federation accredited coach as yet. It's something that I might do in the future. And then on the consulting side, that is really all my experience and the relationships that I've created over the years, the networks that I've built have really primed me to be able to go into consulting. And with consulting, it's really solution thinking, being able to provide solutions to pain points that your customers might have. And so for me, with consulting and the strategies I put together, I would say that it's really just been from my years of experience of working in graduate recruitment marketing, working with brands and understanding how you can address the core needs that people have. And so that is what has driven my consulting business. It's really been my relationships and my experience, my work experience. And then what I would like to say in terms of just the future of the industry as someone who is in youth development, I think the one thing that I would say is a big trend that I've noticed is that people are becoming more intentional about self-development, and really taking ownership of their careers, and starting to listen to their passions and follow their dreams, and to almost like be more engaged in that. And so one trend that I would say is that I definitely see coaching picking up. And I see organizations realizing a big need to coach young talent coming into their organizations. There is a big need for line managers who manage young people to be trained in coaching so that they're able to fully support the young people that enter their organization. So I would say that is a big trend. I definitely see coaching as something that is on the up. In your graduate recruitment space. And then another thing that I am finding as a trend is international. So basically the borderless concept of being able to get international clients, and being able to engage with people in other countries around youth development and solutions. So it's now more of a global approach as opposed to just being isolated. And so finding ways in which to build communities, international communities that support youth development. I definitely see a stronger agenda growing there. Another trend is the gig economy, which is something that we've been hearing about. So the future of work really going into young people taking up so many side hustles, and so they'll have a job, but maybe they'll have two other companies that they have in which they service clients in different ways. I feel that with COVID, the disruption of COVID, a lot of the young people that I've coached are starting to think about their side hustles more intentionally and seeing how they could potentially set up profiles for themselves and portfolios for themselves as consultants or as freelancers whilst having a full-time job. So I'm one example of someone who has created a hybrid career for herself, in which I've worked with organizations and at the same time had my business where I connect with clients and I consult with them and I give talks to their young talent as part of my services. And yeah, so that's really just a bit about me and how I got into this space and my background. The one last thing that I want to just say is in terms of who I admire, from a career perspective, I would say that the one person who has had a very strong influence on me and my time in the youth development space is a woman called Kathy Sims, who is the founder of the South African Graduate Employers Association. And she has a wide network of people who are in the youth development space. And I've always just witnessed her from the moment I met her when I just got into the graduate recruitment space. I've always just watched her journey and watched her on the sidelines at conferences that she's organized and the things that she does for so many people, young people. I admire her so much because she's got a strong agenda that she pushes around youth development, especially around first generation university going students. She's supported a lot of young people that I know. She's been very supportive of me. And I just think that she's one of a kind in this space. And it's just absolutely amazing to have her as a mentor and even just to be able to witness her and to see what she's doing for young African students. And lastly, I know that was the last thing that I said I would say, but the last thing I'd like to say in terms of advice for anyone wanting to come into the career space that I am in or wanting to go into any other career field, what I would want to say if you are still studying is to be very intentional about your journey and to know that your career starts from the moment you start studying. And so be very focused on what it is that you're studying, interrogate why you are studying it, and start to map out where you think you'd want to go, just to help you better plan what you do today in the now. And audit yourself, get to know your real interests, start to connect with your strengths and see where you bring value and make note of that. And if you can do that, if you can be reflective in your journey, it will just help you along the way. And the one thing that I say to a lot of people that I coach is network. Find people who can support you, who can point you into the right direction. A lot of the work that I'm doing today is really just based off relationships that I have created and carried through for over 10 years. And so I would encourage you to really just self-introspect and network. I hope that this has somehow inspired you some way, and I wish you all the best with your career journey.